Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, everybody in the Twitch chat. Thank you for tuning in. You're live with us for House Party 5v5's Premier League Playoffs. This is White Lightning versus the Dream Killers, the final two remaining teams in this Premier League, duking it out in a best of 5 to find out who's going to walk home with the crown. White Lightning is currently up 2-0, a dominating performance in game number 1, followed by a very well-played comeback in game number 2. If they're able to do that same victory dance here at the end of game number 3, they're going to go home with all the marbles. But if their opponents, the Dream Killers, are able to rally and pull out a win, we're going to be going to game number 4. I'm Captain Flowers once again on the casting desk with Deck Club Ace.
All right, and we are actually seeing it. Finally, it only took 2 games, but TDRK has banned out that Lucian. They finally denied it to Christina. Let's see what Christina is going to pull out next. Hovering over that Shaco, I mean, if there's a game that you want to pick a snowball champion and you absolutely have to win, you may as well pick the one where if you lose altogether.
I mean, this is the game where you've got to play those crazy snowballs chance in hell comps. If that's what you might have on your back burner, that's the game to break it out. You're 0-2. There's no more chances. This is where TDRK has to put up or shut up, and we can see the Nautilus, the champion they've gone through so much trouble to ban out these past 2 matches against Simkev, being locked in immediately on the side of White Lightning.
Instead, going to be opting for that Quinn jungle, and not something that I can disagree with. Jungle has seen some success. It does have quite a bit of carry potential if it manages to get ahead, because it's very hard to win a trade when you can't see the person you're trading with. We'll be hovering over a few things here. Potentially, I'm not so sure about that Nocturne, but we will see that.
I feel like it's a troll.
It is a troll.
It's absolutely a troll. There's no way that's an actual pick. I feel like that's almost, it's locked in. I stand completely corrected. I thought that was borderline Cleanse Teleport Teemo levels, but Chicksdig LP will be locking in Nocturne for game number 3.
All right, Flowers, put your dollar in the casters are wrong jar.
I've had to put more than a few dollars in there during my time. I'll gladly throw in another.
That NASA's being hovered. I would think that that would be something you could see. If this is a game where you want to pick somebody who you can leave in a lane, even Alawi is fine. Both of them can do the same thing. You just kind of play a little bit passive and then dominate your lane. Sooner or later.
I really haven't seen an Alawi played in a competitive 5v5 environment yet since she was released. I've seen her played in solo queue. I've seen her played in the in-house matches we have here at House Party 5v5. But in terms of 2 pre-made 5s teams that have experience playing pre-made 5s together, going at it, I've never actually seen the champion in that environment, and I'm looking forward to seeing exactly how well TDRK is able to use her, and if they're able to actually pull out a victory off the back of some of her crazy teamfight presence.
One thing about Alawi is that in a team comp where they're going to be doing a lot of diving, you are incredibly strong if they decide to fight you. Now, of the things, having played Alawi a lot myself, the only 2 matchups that you don't seem to win very much are Gnar, because he outranges you and can interrupt your ultimate with 2 of his 4 abilities, and Trundle, because Trundle can steal damage from you, can steal tank from you, and can steal even your life from you.
Trundle just saps everything Alawi's trying to do. Alawi's entire battle plan is I'm going to walk at them menacingly and then hit them until they die. Unluckily, Senpai is going to have that exact same battle plan on Trundle, but when he's able to take a bite out of not only your health, but also your attack damage, he's a real problem to deal with for any champion that has to just stand there and fight him. So it's going to be a matchup that's going to be interesting for Captain Stevie and Senpai, because they're both going to be playing to that same edge, and at the same time, they're both going to be vulnerable to these jungler ganks if they're trying to play aggressive and force out their dominance early on in the lane.
Now, one thing to touch on with these team comps, we do have a lot of team fight potential coming out once again from White Lightning. They do have a lot of dive potential, a lot of roaming potential in the mid game, both with Nocturne and Twisted Fate ultimates. That means that both lanes need to be incredibly careful. When anyone roams, You have no idea what's going to happen. For all you know, you could see Nocturne diving bot lane, simultaneously Twisted Fate appears top lane while you can't see what's going on. One thing to worry about, though,
and Twisted Fate are the solo queue nightmare. Like, those are the two champions. When you see them in solo queue, you know that even if it's not a problem for you, even if you buy every ward in the world and make sure that you're setting yourself up and being aware of cooldowns, somebody on your team is not, and those guys are going to take advantage of it. The ability of those two champions to capitalize on mistakes is huge, and it allows them to win so many games based off of a snowballing potential, but it's going to be up to TDRK to make sure that they don't allow themselves into those positions.
Now, one thing to say, though, coming out from TDRK, they do have a very good team comp for the mid-game fights. They have these wombo combo ultimates of both Vel'Koz and Miss Fortune. Bullet time and the disintegration rate is a fantastic combo, because if you manage to get it onto someone, they can't get out of either one of them without flash. All you have to do is use someone like, say, a Quinn or a Nami to blow flash using their own ability. Once that's gone, there's not much that you can do to stop it. That being said, the dive potential is very strong. If Simkev lands Dredgeline onto someone, that's potentially a death sentence instantly. May as well be playing Thresh at that point.
It's a dive comp, a powerful dive and pick composition versus a powerful AoE teamfight composition. If this TDRK squad is able to take a full 5v5 fight in a jungle corridor, they're going to absolutely destroy it. Bullet time plus lifeform disintegration ray in the middle of an Illaoi tentacle party makes for a fight that this blue team with White Lightning will just not be able to win unless they're so far ahead they don't even care about where they're fighting to begin with. There's definite and very different win conditions for both of these teams.
The question is, will we see an early game harass coming out once again from TDRK? They don't have that Tristana to push again. They don't have that power. Instead, that's been given over to Kuristina, and potentially White Lightning could do the exact same thing that just happened to them. The difference is, this time it would be them ahead, and what we've seen is, if White Lightning is ahead, it's kind of hard to get them behind.
The power of the Misfortune against the Tristana is finally going to be Luna's having the stronger early game champion, with Lucian finally taken off the board. We'll have to see if that is the secret for success that TDRK has been missing out on, or if White Lightning is going to be able to make this one a clean 3-0. Stay tuned. We'll be live for game number 3 of the House Party 5v5 Premier League Grand Finals momentarily. Stick with us.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to House Party 5v5. Welcome back to Summoner's Rift, and welcome to potentially last game of the night if TDRK doesn't make this a win. I am once again Decla based on color, and joining me once again, Captain Flowers. And come on, this is gonna be a hype game. It's the first game that TDRK has actually banned Lucian and forced a different team comp coming out from White Lightning.
White Lightning is forced to play a different hand, and TDRK has no more room for error. Last game, they played an airtight match until about 23 minutes in, when a botched Baron call ultimately resulted in a throw that cost them the entire game. Sometimes League of Legends doesn't allow for even one big mistake or you're gonna lose. That's exactly what TDRK learned the hard way last match, and we'll have to see this game if they're able to play it even tighter, even closer to the vest, and walk away with a win, because if they don't, White Lightning are the Premier League champions 3-0.
It's definitely going to be a danger coming out here, and not really going to be seeing a whole lot early. Not expecting there to be any incredibly risky plays, I suppose. Just a little bit of a vision line, making sure that no one gets in, no one gets out.
None of that early game 5-man roaming around looking for the kills, looking for the plays. Instead, just wants to make sure that nothing too cheeky is going on, and everybody starts off pretty standard.
Right you are, and once again, we're seeing that Corrupting Potion coming out, but unlike last time, it's not going to be for both teams. Instead, we're only seeing it on this Trundle, and one thing that I've seen often is that if you're not careful, it does lose against someone that takes, say, a Longsword early, because the Longsword gives you stats. Corrupting Potion doesn't give you stats. It only gives you a little bit of sustain. Now, in this lane matchup, we're going to have to see how that's going to kind of transpire. I'm not 100% sure who gets that win.
Well, the nice part for iSenpai is the fact that even though he didn't buy some damage at the start, he's able to just munch away the damage that Alawi's building, so it still results in a pretty even trade overall. There comes the dredge line. Luna's caught up, and that's going to be Simkev and Kuristina going for some early game aggro. Luna's might have that misfortune in the lane, able to go aggressive, but Kuristina and Simkev are not just going to sit by and abide that. Kuristina taking incredibly low. The heal comes out. The bubble is down. The flash away from Kuristina keeps him alive for the time being. Simkev pursuing even further onto Luna's. The Riptide connects. The dredge line is down. There's the heal, and Simkev is shot down for first blood. Murdered in the cold heat of the lane as the bubble connects. Kuristina jumps his way away, and TDRK is first on the board.
If there's a lane that you want to start off winning early, it's bot lane. You don't want to let Kuristina farm up again. You don't want to let him get that mid-game power spike. Wilson Jones going to be easily keeping Kuristina at bay. I almost think Kuristina should just back.
The problem is the Nocturne is nearby, but Wilson Jones able to find the kill onto that enemy Tristana. Corrupt Hope taken low in the mid lane by Strathghost as Vel'Koz as well. And Chickstig LP, he comes down to try to set up the 2v2 bait play with the help of Kuristina. Instead, he loses most of his health, he loses his AD carry, and TDRK goes up 2-0, 3.5 minutes into this game.
I almost think that it was unfortunate when they tried to fight. They could have potentially won if they'd waited a little bit longer, waited for a few more cooldowns to come back up. But because Simkev was on the chase, that meant that Kuristina just had to play back. He didn't have any way of getting away if the fight started again. Captain Stevie putting Senpai in, not really too hard whenever a lot of your damage is AoE.
The nice part about this matchup for Alawi is the fact that even though Trundle can give her a hard time in the actual direct trades, Alawi has the ability to actually push the lane, whereas Trundle just has to melee these things. He has to auto-attack every single minion to death. Alawi's got so much more wave control ability than Trundle has. iSenpai's going to go in, take a big old bite of Calamari, get himself away from dodge in the time being, but Captain Stevie just continues to lay the pressure into this minion wave.
Now, one thing I will say about that, never mind, Zark is about to gank Corrupt Hope here.
The knockup connects. There's the vault. So much damage down onto this Twisted Fate. Zark connecting whatever damage he can in the backdrop. Chickstig LP rotating over, making sure he's got the follow-up if the dive were to come out. But Strathghost and Zark wisely back themselves away. They grab the flash, and now Corrupt Hope on this very immobile mid laner is going to be in a bit of a tight spot. He's got to be very careful for the next 5 minutes.
Talking about that top lane matchup, though, the thing about Alawi is that one of the greatest weaknesses of Alawi in laning is someone that has an easy auto-attack reset, because all they have to do is walk up to the tentacle, and we even saw it there. It didn't matter that Captain Stevie had used the Harsh Lesson. All it took was iSenpai walking up to it, auto-attacking it, immediately pressing Chomp, and auto-attacking it again. Before it even got to drop, it already broke the tentacle itself, so it doesn't do any damage.
Wilson Jones and Luna's continuing to just farm up here in this bot side. They've got the 10 farm advantage. They've got the 1 kill advantage. Strathghost might be in trouble here, though. Chixdig LP able to find the fear, able to find the gank. The cleanse from Strathghost keeps him alive. The knockup will not connect, but he is able to land that plasma fission in the backdrop. Down to about 200 health. He doesn't have to fear that flash stun coming out from Corrupt Hope. The flash was already burned. Strathghost lives to see another day, but some good pressure from Chixdig LP.
It's true, he did manage to get that cleanse out of him, and that will be enough to be able to keep Corrupt Hope in this game. Because one thing about this matchup is that Corrupt Hope does have the advantage if he manages to get a good gold card trade. All he has to do is land that trade. Then there's not much that Strathghost can do to stop it. Oh, here comes Strathghost going in for a fight now.
Level 6 is down. There comes the Lifeform Disintegration Ray. The barrier is popped, but Corrupt Hope is disintegrated anyway as Wilson Jones continues to harass under turret in this bottom side. TDRK is doing to White Lightning's lanes what White Lightning did to TDRK's lanes in Game 1.
That's true, but the question is whether or not it will actually be worth. At this point, it is. They are managing to get a decent amount of farm going. They have leads in every lane, even top lane, even though it's a very small one. It's going to kind of evaporate as he's managing to get a couple of hits onto this tower. But one thing is that CaptainStevie is picking up the Phage. That means he's probably going to go for the first item, Black Cleaver. It's a little bit up in the air right now whether you should go for Black Cleaver first or if you should go for more tanky first. Right now, Black Cleaver tends to be the more popular one, particularly against other tanks, but remains to be seen on how useful it is in the actual fights. Ganking CaptainStevie, though, is going to be a little bit hard, so Chixdig LP is really going to have to figure out what he's going to do here. There isn't really a lane that he can go to and just easily push ahead.
CS across the board in terms of the solo lanes and the jungle is very close. When you look at bot lane, though, Luna's is back and he is bloodthirsty. The past 2 games, he has been at the mercy of Kuristina. Kuristina has outfarmed him, outperformed him, and just carried White Lightning. But now that you take the Lucian away from Kuristina, he doesn't have that carry presence. We've seen Kuristina on Tristana before, and he just doesn't have the same moxie about him on that champion that he does with Lucian. He doesn't have that same presence on the Tristana, and it's something that Luna's and the rest of TDRK are going to have to punish.
You need to be careful, though, because that is still a Tristana. It does have quite a potent mid-game power spike. It can still take down towers like they're basically nothing, regardless of how good your wave clear is. So it's really going to come down to whether or not they can keep this bully factor up. He did pick up a second Doran's Blade for himself, looking like he's going to go for the nice passive farm. Luna's not going to let him do that, though. Misfortune really good at harassing early game, and one of the best champions in the game, proccing Thunderlord's Decree.
Lunas and Wilson Jones are in a very comfortable spot in this bot lane. They're so far ahead that they're not even really that afraid of Chixdig LP coming down to gank, as long as they aren't super overextended to the point where they're dead no matter what, but they're smart enough to not play into that. They know that they're not up under the enemy tower, but they're not afraid of being out in the middle ground of this lane. Wilson Jones now caught up, and it's likely going to be Chixdig LP coming down. The flash away from Wilson keeps him alive for the time being. Chixdig LP looking to follow this one up. They're able to find the kill onto Wilson Jones. Luna's now in a whole lot of trouble. Kuristina will be picked off. It's a 1-for-2 overall, but the Chixdig LP jungle presence results in a positive trade for White Lightning and gets them on the board with a double kill.
CaptainStevie going in on Ice Senpai. He did manage to get the Vessel off.
He's able to find the Vessel. He's able to find the Tentacles. One more smack. Can't quite find that last bit of damage he needs, but Ice Senpai finding it a bit too hard to trade with those chops when there's 3 or 4 tentacles just smashing into him over and over.
Ice Senpai did make the right decision, though. He didn't fight CaptainStevie. He just kind of backed up, waited for the ultimate to run out. Zark going to dive onto Senpai. Incoming Twisted Fate, though.
Corrupt Hope with the good rotation up top, able to keep his ally alive, and now they're chasing Zark away, looking to potentially grab some more pressure onto him. The wild cards come down. Zark just continuing to try to farm up that Scuttle Crab, continues to walk away now instead, as Corrupt Hope definitely let him know he wasn't just going to let him do as he pleased. Not only does Corrupt Hope keep Senpai intact in this lane, he scares Zark a little bit as well, makes him respect the damage on that Twisted Fate.
The downside here is that CaptainStevie doesn't have mana anymore.
With no mana left, he's not able to fight a whole lot, but he still has this field of tentacles that he's able to drag Ice Senpai in towards and get himself away to safety.
probably for the best. iSenpai will manage to get a little bit more CS, possibly push this into the tower. As we see, Captain Stevie does not have teleport anymore, so he will have to walk back the lane. iSenpai able to kind of hold on to that, potentially use it in a ploy for Dragon. I'm not so sure his team is going to be going for that just yet, but who knows? Maybe White Lightning will.
Simkev and Kuristina down now 46 CS to 82 CS.
Missing the gold card that he needed.
But it's both junglers showing up now. Strathgos forced to flash away. The cleanse keeps him alive for the time being. Lifeform Disintegration Ray comes out and lives up to its name. Chicks Dig LP shut down by the power of Zark and Strathgos. 5-2 now in favor of TDRK.
Almost got
flash away as well.
One thing though, the question is a Nightmare really considered a life form?
Oh, get philosophical on me, Deck. We're gonna have to debate the inner workings of whether or not you're actually a life form if you only exist in a dream. Getting deep into the lore here, we'll have to ask the lore guys at Riot if they managed to write that one into Nocturne's backstory. But one thing that's not going to be written into the backstory of this game for very much longer is this bottom lane tier 1 turret for White Lightning. Luna's going to let that one eat as many minions as possible before it gets taken down. And there goes the turret credit over to TDRK. They're going to take the bottom and the top turrets at almost the same time and go up 4,000 gold as now they look to take the dragon.
I will say briefly here that I noticed Illaoi did not go immediately for the Black Cleaver. It looks like Captain Stevie did pick up that Jarm's Fish for himself. That is a very good item to pick up in most matchups because, hey, it's a little bit of extra health, does some damage, and on a champion where living means you can get more tentacles off, that's a fantastic pickup.
Living on most champions is generally pretty preferable, I would think. Simkev in the mid lane looking to zone away his opponent from his own mid laner as Captain Stevie continues to rip the soul out of iSenpai and beat the devil out of it, Bob Ross style, gets the Vessel proc, and now there's going to be that many more tentacles spawning all around iSenpai.
Call Captain Stevie One Punch Man. He is intending to just continue punching this soul out of iSenpai. I've only seen 1 or 2 times where he's thrown that out and not managed to get the soul off.
Captain Stevie continuing to fight iSenpai, not allowing him to clean up those tentacles and purge himself of that Vessel debuff.
It's a very dangerous position to be in, too. It does a lot of damage. You got to be really careful. Running low on mana, though. He does not have a mana item yet.
A very tanky Nocturne build this game, coming out from Chicks Dig LP. Most Nocturnes you see go with the Warrior enchantment, some go with the Devourer. Chicks Dig LP went with Cinderhulk. He wants to be very, very tanky when he dives in. Strathgos looks for Lifeform Disintegration Wave, won't be able to find it. The Tidal Wave comes down, but the Nocturne is still alive for the time being. Plasma Vision down on a Corrupt Hope, and Lunas will take 1 kill. He can't quite find the second with the bullet time, but TDRK is continuing their reign of terror through the early game.
It's true, and unlike last game, there isn't a close lead. They've got the kill lead, and they've got the farm lead this time. They're taking exactly what they want. They did take that tower on bot side. They're not going to be going for this mid-side turret, but because of that, Lunas is trying to catch up in a little bit of farm. Zark going to be veering down towards this bot side, potentially trying to catch out Kuristina before he can do anything.
Strathgos and Lunas will take down this final turret of that outer ring for White Lightning, as now Kuristina's in a whole lot of trouble. Wilson, Jones, and Zark looking to collapse onto this one, prevent that escape from becoming a reality. Spooky ghosts are dropped. There comes the splish splash. It's time to take a bath, Kuristina, and here comes the bullet rain to help you along. Lunas grabs kill number 4 of the match. He's got the Essence Reaver, he's got the resources, he's got the kills, and he has a 7-2 lead with the rest of his team. These guys are up over 5,000 gold.
That is the exact position you want to be in whenever all 3 of the towers are now down. They can now pressure for this Rift Herald, potentially go for those inner turrets, and who knows, maybe they'll actually be able to get an early inhibitor out here.
Captain Stevie now found out by Chicks Dig LP and Corrupt Hope, but here come the tentacles. This is how you turn around a fight as Illaoi. Corrupt Hope immediately killed. Captain Stevie looking to turn this one around even further. It's a 3v1 once again, and Chicks Dig LP is now killed. A double comes down for Captain Stevie in a 1v4. iSenpai running away. He's got the Frozen Domain. Strathgos and Zark want to catch up. The escape from Simkev will go through as well, but that is some amazing Alawi play. He utilizes the tentacles perfectly, he fights in a zone where he can get the maximum use out of them, and he ends up coming out on top of the trade despite an absolutely absurd numbers disadvantage.
Rule number 1 of fighting Alawi: do not fight Alawi on her terrain.
That was incredibly well played from Captain Stevie, but now Lunas and Wilson Jones might be in some trouble of their own. Kuristina and Corrupt Hope looking to collapse onto this one. Luna's able to find the bullet time and takes down Kuristina and Corrupt Hope both. The double kill comes out, and Chixdig LP able to find that paranoia kill onto Lunas. That's a shutdown they were definitely looking for. Wilson Jones grabs the bubble, gets away for the time being. The depth charge gonna make sure he doesn't get away for long. There comes the trophy. Senpai and the rest of White Lightning are looking for if they're able to win this game, but they've got their work cut out for them. Even after those pickups, they're down 5,000 gold.
Yeah, they didn't even really get kills on people that they really wanted. They did manage to get a nice kill into Lunas, but besides that, they got Wilson Jones. Wilson Jones is not worth a lot of gold. At this point, you want to catch out some of the other people. You want to just camp somebody, and there's not really much that they can do. The towers are all being pushed in constantly. If you look, all the lanes have AoE wave clear. Everyone can shove the lanes in really hard. And because of that, the entirety of White Lightning is having to play back the entire game. That's probably what's going to be needed to keep this game inside TDRK's court. Now, one thing to say though, the Alawi team fights, when they start happening, are going to be incredibly dangerous, because if there's no disengaged potential coming out from White Lightning, it's entirely possible that by himself, Captain Stevie, once he gets tanky enough, will be able to kill the entirety of their team.
Zark finds Corrupt Hope and gets down plenty of damage right quickly. Will not be able to connect that blinding assault, as now he's the one in trouble. Flashes away, but the follow-up flash into the stun, into the wild cards from Corrupt Hope is going to bring White Lightning their 6th kill of the match. I think White Lightning has done this song and dance before. They fought Captain Stevie in the jungle, and now they're looking to do it again. They're able to find the killing spree onto Senpai though, this time before the tentacles can wreak their havoc. The tidal wave connect. Wilson Jones and Lunas want the damage. They're able to find it, and the shutdown comes out. Chixdig LP tries to shield himself, but there's way too many bullets to cover that one. You're gonna need a Kevlar vest, not a spell shield. That's gonna be a 2-for-1 pickup in the favor of TDRK.
At this point, looking at the Misfortune build, I don't even think the Kevlar would save you. That rapid fire cannon just ripping through everything with the combined power of the Essence Reaver and just getting a nice little bit of cooldown reduction for himself. He's managing to do a ton of damage in these fights, plus the red buff he just acquired. Just going to be able to rip through this tower like it's butter.
TDRK is having one great showing this game. The tier 2 turret will fall. Simkev able to find that initiation onto Wilson Jones, but Strathghost and Lunas return plenty of damage of their own. Spooky Ghost going to connect, and Lunas is a target you absolutely want to be able to pick off. Kuristina over the side, they're going to be able to find him, and that's a big shutdown. Going over with some gold into Kuristina's pocket, finally. Corrupt Hope with barrier, able to get himself away, and now Chixdig LP onto Zark into the backdrop, going to be able to find that kill. Strathghost now alone in the dark. The rest of his team has been killed. Wilson Jones escaped, and White Lightning has their opportunity to push.
The darkness comes knocking. There's not much you can do, and it looks like managing to finally get a win here. Not just a random skirmish that they win, but an actual fight that they win. Corrupt Hope going to be taking a lot of damage here, probably dead.
Lifeform Disintegration Ray just lives up to its name time and again. He is absolutely deleting people with that one. Up to 2, 0, and 4 on the mid Vel'Koz.
It's less deleting and more cataloging them for later research in the form of deconstructed molecules.
Science and lore, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we're all about here at the House Party 5v5 scene. We're all about making sure that everybody's as immersed as possible, so deep you could drown in it twice. Speaking of drowning in it, Nami is drowning in assists right now. 8 assists on Wilson Jones, the support on the side of TDRK, making sure he's a part of as many of these fights as possible and facilitating the 8 different kills that Lunas has been able to pick up.
Has had a lot of fights here that he's been incredibly useful in, managing to get bubble after bubble. That Frost Queen's Claim active Spooky Ghost doing a lot for him. Zark might potentially be in a bad spot here, possibly just, you know, strolling through, being a bird.
Just doing bird things, you know, migratory.
Just bird stuff.
Lunas, Wilson Jones, and Zark all positioned up in this bottom side of the map, but one thing they've got to be careful of is they don't have eyes on Corrupt Hope or on their opponent, the friendly neighborhood Nocturne. Lunas could be forced to flash away to keep himself alive, but Blinding Assault lands. Here comes that life form disintegration ray. Kurstina about to be disintegrated. It's going to be another pickup in the favor of Strathghost. Wilson Jones flash forward, bubble won't connect, but one more fishy auto attack is gonna send him to an early grave. Strathghost and the rest of TDRK able to find a 2 for 0, but that's quickly going to become a 2 for 1 as Chixdig LP definitely wants a taste of that fish. He's not going to be able to find the kill immediately. Oh, one more Dustbringer from long range could potentially connect for it. He won't be able to find that as Strathghost, Lunas, and Zark now want this turret. They only need a couple more, and they've secured everything outside of the White Lightning base.
iSenpai in a bad fight here, getting tentacled.
Captain Stevie down deep into the backdrop. He's able to find one kill this time onto Wilson Jones. He's about to be brought down by the rat-a-tat-tat Gatling attack from Lunas. Lunas will grab his 9th kill of the match now as Chixdig LP goes 1 for 1, taking down the enemy support.
It's more gold in the pocket of a champion that you don't want ahead. Already strong, bullet time already doing tons of damage. Each wave hitting for a large chunk of health. And not really much that he can do to stop it at this point. Even building armor is not going to save you. At this point, you need to interrupt him. You need to dive on him and kill him as fast as you can. And with the team comp coming out from TDRK here, they're able to stop that. Between Strathghost being able to do a lot of CC and a lot of debilitating with that Lifeform Disintegration Ray, and with Wilson Jones having so many good bubbles and ridiculously good tidal waves, there's not much that can be done to stop that snowball.
7,000 gold, the lead now for TDRK, 22 minutes into this game. The past 2 games were this strong of a lead in favor of White Lightning. Not quite at this point in the game last game, but they ultimately came into that eventually as iSenpai and Captain Stevie get into that 1v1 one more time. Every time iSenpai tries to go in, though, Stevie's able to drop that ult, deploy those tentacles, and create a zone that's very unfavorable for his opponent to fight in. Now TDRK wants to secure this last tier 2 turret. They're able to pull out the spirit of that Nautilus and force White Lightning back.
Proto taking a ton of damage just from that one shot.
TDRK now has to make sure they don't fall into that trap of allowing themselves to stall out. They're very powerful right now. They've got a lot of gold compared to their opponents, and they need to find a way to make sure they're utilizing it. The Lifeform Disintegration Ray comes down, but now Strathghost is in a very bad position. Might be picked off, but instead it's Simkev and Senpai both melting away. Corrupt Hope picked off by Zark, and that is the ticket that they needed to punch. Kurstina is able to find the kill onto Zark, but Lunas wants to grab him as well. Will not be able to find it. Instead, I guess they're just going to have to dry their tears with the remainder of that inhibitor turret as the top lane inhibitor for White Lightning will fall 23 minutes in.
You know, you never really think about how good it would be to dry your tears with a crystal until it's the crystal of your slain enemies.
It's always better when it's the enemy's loss that turns into your gain, and now Chixdig LP and Kurstina are going to have to hold the line against these super minions. White Lightning's down 10,000 gold at 23 minutes. This is an absolutely phenomenal situation for TDRK to be in.
One thing that fight looked like it was potentially going to go for White Lightning. They managed to interrupt the Lifeform Disintegration Ray instantly. Lunas didn't manage to get off a crazy good bullet time. Overall, it was really Captain Stevie. Despite the fact that Lunas does a lot of damage, Captain Stevie managed to get 2 kills between all of the tentacles he was throwing out. The Leap of Faith doing tons of damage between Harsh Lessons, between the Black Cleaver being procced from every tentacle that hit. So much in such a small area, you can't fight on top of them.
With one inhibitor already open and down, it's now up to TDRK to continue to pressure this advantage. They can look for inhibitors elsewhere, look to try to use that extra pressure they've got flowing into topside, or they can try to translate it into a Baron play if they're able to get enough wards up in the enemy jungle to see everybody coming and they have a coherent game plan to deal with them when they do arrive.
Proto once again taking a lot of damage there. He's going to have to get shielded from Simkev and play safe. He needs to get a little bit of MR here, or in the very least, be better at dodging geometry.
Some of those spells are tricky to dodge, man. Vel'Koz has such a different dodging pattern from most champions just because of the fact that you've got to respect the ability in regards to how it works as a triangle. It can be very tricky, especially if the Vel'Koz player is familiar with the champion and knows what he's doing. And like you talked about, Strathghost might have a champion puddle instead of a champion pool, but Vel'Koz is one of the champions that lives in that puddle.
Easy dragon going over. This is Dragon 2. Not really any chance of contesting. Looks like they're pinging for this bot side turret. They're going to try and shove for this as hard as they can, and that's probably for the best. They won the last fight. They can sure as heck win this fight too. Slowly but surely the minion wave trudges along.
TDRK wants bottom lane inhibitor. If they're able to secure this one, it's going to be an easy Baron pickup later. Zark and Luna's the double AD carry comp, able to pour so much damage onto that turret so quickly. The next wave is going to be the one with the potential to end this turret right here, right now. And if White Lightning tries to engage only in time to find that turret falling, they're going to find a lot of tentacles waiting for them after the dust settles. Now, the inhibitor number 2, their target. Simkev looking to be able to find the depth charge onto someone who matters. Captain Stevie pulls out the soul from Ice Senpai. They're going to get plenty of damage onto that one, and if they're able to proc that vessel, that's going to be even more tentacles spawning in the backdrop that makes it harder and harder for White Lightning to play back. Corrupt Hope finds a stun, but takes a lot of damage from Lunas. The Trigonometry Laser will come out, the Lifeform Disintegration Ray will follow it up, and that's going to be an easy, clean inhibitor number 2 take in the favor of TDRK as Lunas and the rest of these red side guys move on to the Nexus turret. Jigstick LP diving into the backdrop, almost exploded immediately. Zark is actually brought down by Kurestina. Simkev into the backdrop, going to be brought down by Strathghost. Corrupt Hope able to find the red cards, able to find the wild cards, able to find some damage, but not enough for the time being to make this happen. The bullet time won't connect on the Corrupt Hope either. Kurestina goes in, but shut down by Strathghost. It's a 2-for-1 in the favor of TDRK. They take down one Nexus turret, the other barely alive.
Kurestina thinking he could potentially get Luna's there with a lucky RNG crit, but RNG was not in his favor this time around. Didn't get the crit he needed, didn't get the crit he wanted. Luna is going to survive once again. We saw Jigstick LP dove in there and died, well, didn't die, he almost died almost instantly, and was put so low that he had to run away incredibly quickly. Corrupt Hope almost managing to kill Lunas, and that's just the story of this game. White Lightning almost being able to pull out anything, White Lightning almost being able to win fights, but not quite getting to.
TDRK now has the ability to either try to push middle and just grab that final inhibitor, then go for the game-ending push off the back of that one, or they can push up one of the sides they've already taken and just try to take the Nexus without worrying about inhibitor number 3. Or, if they find that both of those options aren't appealing, they can go for Baron and then try to end the game off of that one. They've got so many different possibilities. It's up to them to choose whichever one suits them the best and go for it. This is their game to lose.
I said it in game 1 when White Lightning was far ahead, and I'll say it again, with great power comes great possibilities, and they are choosing the easiest. They are going straight for this simple tower, gonna rip through it like it's nothing.
One hit left on it. They will be able to take that one down. Simkev and the rest of his White Lightning squad not able to do anything about it for the time being. Tidal Wave connects. They're able to zone them away. And now the inhibitor with only a third of the health remaining. The flash away. Captain Stevie looking to proc that Sterex gauge, get himself into these fights. Lifeform Disintegration Ray is down. Nobody dead on either side. Corrupt Hope in the backdrop, though, almost immediately stunned up. Jigstick LP able to find a pickoff onto Zark. But now he's going to fall in retaliation. A 2-for-1. White Lightning is now in dire straits. 3 inhibitors down. It's going to be 3 guys defending against 4 for the next 30 seconds or so. It's every single TDRK fan's dream. We're going to game 4.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's already showing to be a fantastic night, and we get the double explosion for double the fun. Already I'm excited. We get to go to game 4. We were almost a little worried there. We thought we were only going to get a 3-game night because White Lightning was just wrecking. Suddenly, take away the champion from Kurestina, take away a couple of other options, change up your team comp style, and they suddenly start winning.
TDRK, if you've got this on in the background right now, you listen and you listen good. You've got the potential to take this to a 5-game series, and now it is your God-given responsibility to do so. If you want to punch that ticket, Lucian Band. We talked about it, you demonstrated it, and it worked. It's very clear that the draft has a massive impact on these games. TDRK learned the art of it in game number 3, and now in game number 4, we'll have to see if they stick to that, if they revert to their old ways and allow White Lightning back in control, or if we're going to see game number 5. Stay tuned.